Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do this thing.
Welcome back, BSers, to Belonging Songs, your weekly podcast that brings you a brand new original song each week, then talks about the theme of that song and the processes that went into writing and recording it, and sometimes the revisions we make along the way. I'm your host, Wade Dana. With me, as always, my mocking buddies, Brad Maurer.
That's me. How you doing?
Patrick Crane.
How are you now?
I'm good. Thanks. These guys were just mimicking
bad,
me
you?
on the Zoom.
Hey, Wade, how are you now?
Good. How are you now?
Not bad, and you? Come on, Wade.
Guy hasn't watched it yet.
Oh, you guys letterkenning me?
Yeah.
No, I haven't. Sorry, I've been busy.
He'll get there.
Bonnie McMurray.
Yeah.
I have to mix your songs, Brad, and edit these podcasts. Brad, you make it tough on me editing, so.
Been in the coal mine all day.
Yeah. Working in the coal mine. Oh, no.
So yeah, we're recording today again in the Zoom world. Getting a little tired of not being able to hang out, but we're making the best of it. Patrick's got himself a delicious drink. He made the most stank-faced. We thought that it was a really bad drink, but it turned out it was a really good drink. And he made a face appropriately stanky, like a metal dude makes.
Oh yeah, it was metal stank face.
When a riff drops.
Yeah, playing on the Boss Metal Zone.
Patrick, tell the listeners what you're drinking, maybe throw out a recipe for them to enjoy.
All right, we're sipping a Paloma, so we've got 1/2 of a grapefruit squeezed. Strain that. Then talking 2 ounces of Reposado tequila, probably a ounce of simple syrup, 1/2 a lime squeezed, top off with soda.
Sounds delicious. You got a crushed ice in there, or you got a cube?
Cube.
Okay.
Probably better with crushed ice.
All right. Well, sounds good. And we know it is super good by the stank of your face.
And we know why, because it's got a 1/2 a fucking grapefruit in it. So he's like, yeah.
Yeah, you gotta fight through that grapefruit.
Yeah.
I love grapefruit.
I do too,
but it's a good bad sour face you make sometimes when you're eating them.
Which I think grapefruit is like the perfect fruit juice for a sour drink.
Agreed.
It cuts through the alcohol so well.
Mm-hmm. So the Paloma's on the list now.
Yeah.
For me.
So please make yourself a Paloma, BSers. Take a picture of it. Hashtag it. Throw it on our Instagram. Belonging Songs.
Tell me if my recipe's bullshit.
What should we have them hashtag it? Patrick Stankface?
Right.
Or just Stankface?
Yeah, let's just go Stankface.
Okay.
BS Stankface.
Take a picture of your Paloma. Put it on our Instagram. Hashtag it Stankface. Or do they put it on their Instagram? I'm not savvy enough for this.
I don't
know.
know.
Brad, you're a tech guy.
Put it on
what do they do?
Venmo.
Put it on their Instagram, tag us, and we will share it in our stories.
There you go.
Yeah.
See? Brad's on top of things.
You're welcome, guys.
So anyway, let's talk about the song we're going to listen to today. Brad, this is a new song of yours, and I know you're excited to listen to it because you kind of, called this meeting together.
Yeah, well, I don't consider my process done until somebody else can listen to the song. And then, we've talked about that a little bit before, and that was part of the genesis of this podcast is it's not complete unless usually Wade, like I'm usually good if just you heard it.
Right.
Like if Wade heard it, like I'm all right, well, it's done now.
Right.
Punctuation, it's over.
Now, Brad, like 3 or 4 people are going to hear it.
Right.
Yeah.
So huge step up. But so it's a part of the process to get it done.
Mm-hmm.
And I just kind of want feedback on it because I like it. I like where it landed. It's really natural. Like I came up on a Saturday morning, picked up the acoustic, most of it, and I played my acoustic guitar and it just kind of came right out. And so I recorded it. I made a couple of conscious decisions along the way, which after we listen to it, I'll ask you guys, how did I do on that decision making? Because it could have gone a couple of different directions. It did go one direction and I killed it and brought it to a different
So this
direction.
is a One Direction song?
Yes, it's a One Direction cover.
Acoustic cover of a One Direction song. Okay.
That Zane is dreamy.
Yeah.
What'd you say the timeline was when you wrote this and recorded? I can use words. Palomas, ladies and gentlemen.
I came up on a Saturday morning. I do this thing.
A recent Saturday?
Yeah.
Like the reason I'm asking is just because on the last episode, I think we were all talking about writer's block.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we were.
So this is like the emergence out of that, which
correct. I was really struggling, and what I do sometimes is like I'll come up to like grab a shirt, right, and like the
not a shorts t-shirt with a fucking tag.
Yeah, what kind of shirt are we talking here?
Whatever. So I'm cold, right? I come up and I get a sweatshirt. I have to walk by my music room. Usually I'll dip in and I will play my guitar for 5 minutes, and then I'll come in here, get a shirt, go do what I'm doing. I went in there and I picked it up and I was playing, and I had a song popped out. So I was like, well, I'll lay that down real quick. And so I started doing that. And then I was in there for, 4 hours and kind of laid it down, and I finished it the next day. It just kind of spilled out. You'll see it's not very complex. So you'll see like,
how much respect did you give it when you were writing it?
Decent. This was a decent amount of respect.
Oh, really?
I do like it. I do like it.
All right.
So it sounds sad, but it's more hopeful than sad. So you'll hear it. It's a little somber in tone. I don't mean to bring everybody down, but it's actually about.
Yeah, that's Wade's job.
Yeah, it's like a reflection, and it's more of a hope song than anything. But
we don't get a lot of acoustic jams on the podcast, so.
No, that was the other thing I liked about it is I don't write acoustic songs a lot.
Ironically, one of the new songs I'm working on right now is an acoustic song.
That's funny.
Which I hardly ever do.
Is
it called You Guys Want to Hear Some Dave?
Yeah.
How high did you have the strap up on your acoustic guitar when you were playing it?
I was rubbing my chin with the top of the guitar.
Yeah, mariachi stance.
My knees were doing like this kind of thing.
Patrick mentioned the last time we recorded, we got into doing the ingredient songs that you have since heard about, BSers, but that was to try and get Brad out of writer's block. This doesn't have anything to do with that, right?
It was after that. I think that.
So no.
I did. No, it did. I recorded a part, like a start of a song, and that's actually like all the way through. Like I just have to go through and put bells and whistles on it. So I think maybe just going through the process of like creating, and it might have snapped me out of it. But I think it was more about when you feel a certain way, sometimes you'll just go up and you play your guitar and a certain thing will come out. And
yeah, you've mentioned like that, trying to capture that feeling before when you've writing songs.
I think just the timing was right. And usually I struggle when I sit down to write a song.
Right.
And I think what I was doing when I had the quote unquote writer's block is I was sitting down to write a song instead of sitting down and a song coming.
Letting it happen, right?
Yeah. So, and this podcast was probably part of the reason, because I was like, oh man, like I gotta write something.
Right.
I need to get something going. And I have a lot of things that are started and I probably won't finish because I don't like them. I have a couple things that I probably will finish just because they're started, but they're not songs yet. This one just kind of spilled out. You just kind of got to wait sometimes and something will strike you right.
Right.
And that's what happened.
I think we should listen to this.
Yeah.
What is it called?
Let's do that. It's tentatively called What Am I Waiting For? But I want to talk to you about that when we're done too.
Yeah, is it filed under Home Squares?
Yes.
Is this Home Squares too?
There's
the homening
in there too. The lyrics, there's not a lot of them, but we can talk about that after too.
Okay, cool. Well, let's give it a listen.
Okay.
What am I waiting for?
You know, you guys have pretty good poker faces.
Oh,
so you make me nervous.
I was writing stuff.
Yeah, I was writing stuff too.
Anyway, what do you think of that?
I don't really have anything to say about it.
Yeah, me neither.
That's good. All right. All right. See you next week.
Patrick, go ahead.
Yeah, I love the structure as far as how the song begins. I do think the drums and how they come in is really effective. I think the kick drum overtakes the song early on. And, and that can probably be fixed in a mix, because as the song progresses, what kit did you use? It sounds like a jazz kit. I don't want to get technical too quickly, but I love that jazz kit sound that you have going on.
I would have to look, but I think it's something in that tone.
Maybe that'll be part of our song pack that we're talking about doing.
I admit, I think it is a little hot when it comes in. I just never.
It's just the kick drum, and I think I love where the kick drum's there, and it just starts with this. You know, drummer. You can picture the drummer just sits down at the kit. Mm-hmm. He's finding the groove, and then it comes in as the song builds. I love that subtle drums walk in. The first 3 seconds, I'm like, this kid wrote fucking Wonderwall and he's submitting it, but it totally deviates from there.
I have a note about the drums too. Same thing. Like, I really think it's effective when they come in. One note I had was that you have like a snare fill in there early that I would almost take out and wait for the big snare fill to come in.
Yeah, I had that same note.
I was trying that, and I what I was trying to do was trying to make it just like somebody was setting their sticks down kind of thing, and like a bub up on the snare, but that doesn't have to stay. That's something that I was curious about.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that's what you were trying to do, because that's, like I said, that's exactly what I pictured in my head, is the drummer walking into the session, not even maybe invited or part of the song, and he just starts in.
And Brad, I could record that for you here with these drums and send it to you if that's what you want. If you wanted to try plugging it in, like sitting down at the kit and just setting the sticks on the snare.
Those drums. That was just like my idea. I really want just the toms more or less to be bouncing between your ears more than anything. And that's why I was trying to hit a left tom and a right tom and just kind of get like an ambient.
Oh, pan job?
An ambient pan job.
Hashtag pan job.
But just trying to make it so it was just kind of like Patrick said, where somebody was just coming in and they were feeling the song out, and then they started playing. I thought like the song sort of was asking for that build. And like the same thing with the bass. Like the bass, I had it in there early. I'm like, no, fuck that. Like,
well, that build that you're speaking to is the reason why I'd like to hold that little snare thing out, because I think it kind of contradicts that a little bit.
I would agree. There's no snare other than that.
Yeah.
Right. So get it away. The first beat that comes in is a little quieter and more subtle. Then when the bass comes in, it's a little louder and harder hitting. And then there's like the end. That's what I wanted to talk to you guys about. That was like a choice I made. I could have finished that first song, or I could have taken it to like this other place. And every time I was playing it, I was actually playing a whole different set of chords, and it was completely different. And I wanted it to connect better. But I liked the fact that it like got into like this cowboy gallop kind of thing.
I have notes about that end, but I jumped in on Patrick's drum note to drop my own. So Patrick,
let him finish his thought.
Keep going.
Yeah, so I'm glad we agree on that, because I think that's actually the most important part of the song is those drums. It's the part that I think really makes this song unique, because like you said, the chord structure is simple, the lyrics are simple, so you really need the instruments to shine, and this is one of those examples where less is more until you get to the point where they need to be more.
Right. I had the song, and it was an acoustic song, and it needed to be dynamic and build. The model for it, do you ever listen to like Alice in Chains, The Nutshell Unplugged?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right? When the band members all walked in at different times, and then they sat down, and then they just started playing their instrument, and it was like perfectly timed. It was that sort of thing where I was like, I love how that worked.
Yeah.
And so like this was the same sort of concept, but you know, there's some choices in there.
The one thing I need to listen to this song more to wrap my head around, I'm struggling a little bit with the tempo change. And And it's funny because, we were just talking about how we love how the song builds. I'm wondering if I think it builds too much to almost that full electric at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Brad goes electric.
I wanted to ask you guys about that.
I would love to hear, and maybe this is too much to ask of you, I'd love to hear you build more with the acoustic and drums and just keep that simple 3-piece thing going with the keyboard fill, because I do like the keyboard fills that you have in there.
In the second part, after the...
Well, throughout the whole song, actually. You
Okay.
got some in that first part, too, if I remember right.
Mm-hmm.
I think it might build too much and become something too different. And if that's what you're trying to do, great. Leave it. But I think it's the same discussion we had in the last episode, which is, does this need to be here, or does it exist as a separate piece of music or somewhere else? And I think the tipping point for me is the tempo change just felt like, instead of building into that new tempo, I felt like a switch turned on and I had no context for that switch to turn on.
Mm-hmm.
But that might just require more listens. I don't know. This is the first time I've heard this. But the second solo also sort of reinforced that point. And I love that solo. I love all of your solos, but I don't know if it fits there.
I came into this is why I was excited to bring it to you guys, and I'm sorry if I'm interrupting Wade.
I wasn't saying anything.
I know, but you haven't said anything yet. You could be saying what I'm saying.
I'm trying to be better at not stepping on you guys as a
you're
podcast
doing
host.
great. Shut it up. I'm trying to talk.
Is he virtue signaling?
It's good to be good.
I made that decision, and once I made it, I just kind of pulled the trigger on it. But once I got done with the song, I was kind of doing the same thing, Patrick, where I was like, is somebody going to listen to this song and really like the beginning, and then go, fuck. Like, it's too much. Is that right?
Well,
so Wade's raising his hand like that's what happened. Like,
no, I was wondering if I could talk yet.
Yeah, sorry, yeah,
Can I finish?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I finish?
Brad,
finish?
I have a note about that tempo change. What do you think I thought about it?
I don't know.
Are you my dad? What do you think?
No, Brad knows my style of songwriting and the things that I like, so...
I think you might like it, but if I were to project onto you what I thought, this is the image that I couldn't get out of my head. Like, somebody's on the stage, and they're playing a song by themselves, and the fucking Allman Brothers come and push them off the stage. The same song.
God damn it, Greg.
Right.
That's a good...
better. They're like, fuck you. We can do this better. And then they play the same fucking song. What does that say?
F-yeah.
Okay.
Change. I really liked it.
Likes it. Yeah.
It did punch me in the face. Like, I didn't expect it. And it happened, and I don't know if you guys noticed, but I gave it a little like, whoa, what was that? But then immediately I was like, yeah.
I was looking for that, and I didn't see it out of you because you were like, you look like the great and powerful Oz back there. You were like doing stuff. I was like, is he listening?
I really liked that. And then my immediate note following that says Eagles again. Because you are
Henley, man.
You're
always going to be fucking fried.
Because you've got this thing going lately where I think your song sounds like the Eagles or something. And I don't even like the Eagles, but I like this. I thought that was funny and you would get a kick out of that. But my note on that part, though, is that I wanted you to lean into it more. Like, that part comes in and there's some noodly guitar going on, like a solo-y thing, or I'm sorry, there's an instrumental enhancement that's happening back there. But then when the vocals come in, it kind of all backs off. And I would really like that to just lean in hard. And also, like, the solo, I agree with Patrick, like, at the end of the song there, it kind of lost steam. I would like to take that and move it into that section and like condense it into that section. So you're really leaning into that change.
That might be interesting. That might make it feel a little more like a part A and part B instead of two disjointed sections.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really interesting thought, Wade. I wouldn't mind hearing that either to see how that sounds if you just lean into it.
You just want just like a constant sort of melodic guitar-y more stuff behind that.
When that change happens, you've got some extra guitars going and they kind of back off when the vocals come in. I would just like to keep it going.
Yeah, you could even go full Eagles, push the keys in there too, and just have that whole section all swole.
I think that change is so abrupt. I think you have to commit to it.
Yeah,
like 100%.
Then you need a 14-minute bass solo.
Because, like I said, when the vocals come in again, you kind of back off from that. And I would just rather hear you just get it. Like, go after it.
Yeah, I was trying to have that vocal part be bigger. And I think I might have failed at that a little bit. To be honest, I have allergies and I can't sing high. So I just couldn't do it. And so I gave up.
I think it's the same thing that we talked about when we were recording together is I think you get in your own head. I think you've got the range to where you can get that really top of the limit end of your voice, but I think sometimes you're hesitant to do it because sometimes people are around. Wait till Amanda's not home and fucking let loose.
Well, there's that, and then there's also like I can hit that stuff, but when I try to go up, it's a mess right now, and I know that. So, but that's my issue.
That solo, like, I don't really want that as a separate part, like Patrick said. I want that as part of the end of the song, which is kind of funny because we don't want a solo. We want an instrumental, like more instrumental going on in the song.
Funny how all of these things tie together.
So, you know, you've got those vocals at the end that come back in, like to take all that and push it, smush it into that other section of the song. So it's not like part A, part B, solo, end. It'd be like part A, part B.
Yeah, it's not part A, it's not part B, it's part B.
Right.
Because what I essentially did, I ended up creating sort of two songs, right? So there's an intro, a verse, and an outro. And you just want that whole thing to be like this unit, right?
I mean, you still have the outro element, but I just think it gets condensed a little without that big solo in the middle. I would like the guitar stuff to come in a little earlier, even with the vocals, and then transition into that outro.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be really cool.
You mean like the end guitar, like because there's two like distortion models there too, right? Like it was all part of like the quote unquote build concept. So I came in with like a tube screamer, and then I had a more distorted guitar and playing a Les Paul.
Honestly, I was just thinking of the vocals at the end as an element. It went from like guitar solo to like the end outro with some out vocals. I think we're going to want to listen to this again now that we've talked through this a bit.
This might be a good opportunity for you to do some really cool syncopated like harmonies, or have you and your range singing different things, or oh God, Wade, help me out. What's the phrase where one set of vocals starts right after the other set? So there's
like a
round?
Yeah, round. A fucking round.
Didn't we go through that in one episode past?
Yeah, we talked about a round.
Yeah.
98 bottles of beer.
You want me to sort of like bring that whole end up and just kind of make the whole thing big at the end, right? Is what you want? It's what you think it needs?
That's what I think it needs. And then it needs to come back down for maybe the outro.
Yeah, settle down and go away.
I want it to, at that change, it gets big, and I want it to stay big to the end of the song.
Okay.
And I think the solo just needs to get cut out and moved kind of into the song, be more of a part of the whole thing.
I think what we're saying, Brad, is just make it fucking work.
Let's listen to this again.
Something we like.
I actually want to listen to it after hearing those comments because I want to play that in my head and see how I hear that.
Cool. Let's do that.
I'm digging in.
All right, here we go.
Today is gonna be the day.
I don't know
I've got some thoughts.
Share them.
Brad, is he ready?
I don't know.
You back?
Is he ever?
He's muted.
I'm
All
back.
right. Yeah, I've got some thoughts after talking through that and then re-listening. If I were arranging this, here's some things I would do. Like if you handed this to me as is to mix and you're like, go nuts.
Do whatever. Yep.
I would probably hold or cut that guitar intro out and start with your vocals alone by themselves, like a breath in at least maybe those first couple words on their own, and then
That's
bring
a
in
nice touch.
the instrumentation. And I would probably hold the snare out altogether until it comes on full snare. So hold it out even longer.
Till the bass comes in, you mean?
I think so.
Okay.
I'd be worried that would make it lose that thing that we liked, which is the drummer sitting down at the kit.
I would get rid of that softer snare, maybe bring the hi-hat in there, and then I think when the bass kicks in is when the full snare hits come in. I think that would really be a big
So just
jump.
maybe loosen up that first beat that comes in.
I think so.
Okay.
And then I would love a lead guitar element during part B when the vocals come in. Like keep that going. That's what I was talking about, I think.
I heard it. I heard
You're gonna think I'm a fucking idiot for saying this, and I even hesitate to say I absolutely agree. But you know what I heard there instead of a lead guitar, a banjo, something pluckier that you can mix in there.
Yeah, I think it just needs something. I don't think that's a horrible idea.
I'll try clean guitars. I'll try some things.
Yeah, do you have a banjo plugin?
No, but I can figure something out.
Yeah, just something to sort of mimic that plucky sound, I think would be really nice there. But that's funny, Wade. That's exactly what I wrote down.
I think it needs, like what I was saying about leaning into it. I think that's what I mean is you've got sort of that lead guitar element that comes in, and then I want almost a noodly lead guitar during that, the vocals, and then the solo part, I don't even know that it needs to be cut down or condensed. I think maybe what I'm trying to mean when I say that is that I want it to be more of part of the song instead of a separate part. So I think even maybe extending vocals into that, you know, the vocal phrases like you do, like picking a few words and stretching them out through that part would really be effective to make it more a part of the song and leading into the outro part.
I totally agree with that. And I think too, the other thing that you could thicken it up with is maybe with having one more guitar track that's just playing whole notes with a bit more fuzz on it to sort of give
like ringing chords or something.
Ringing chords.
Yeah, well, my note is
that might be
that would go right with my idea of doing the vocal phrases, like they could be backed up by.
That might be a mix thing on my end. There's some in there. There's 3 in there. Okay. I sat down, not to get too technical yet. I sat down with the Riviera. It's all tuned down to C sharp.
Hey, you know what?
My acoustic.
Why don't we just go ahead and get technical?
Let's go get technical.
I don't know what button do I push to do that.
I don't know. So anyway, like I was saying, my acoustic guitar is hanging on the wall, tuned down to C sharp from when I did Lemons.
Yeah, as you do.
Right. So I brought it down. I tuned it up to the nearest tuning that I played. I was playing it. And so the Riviera that I have is a semi-hollow, and that was also sits on its stand in the same tuning. So I grabbed that.
Oh, I saw that.
Brad.
I saw that moved
Brad,
when you were in the studio.
Did you legitimately tune both of these guitars before you started recording?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
You're under oath. Let me remind you, you're under oath.
I did. Okay. I promise you I did. And I tuned the standard tuning. The lead guitars and everything are all standard.
Do you want to tell the BSers why I might ask that?
Because I don't usually do that. Because I'm
glad we've debriefed.
but let me explain. Let me explain why.
Because of the feeling.
I get a little pumped up, right? And so that I just fuck it. You go with the moment, you grab the guitar, you start playing it, and you're like, it's a little off, so you do a little bendy thing, right? And you're like, that's not an issue. This is not an issue. I got it. It sounds good. So then you put the guitar down there, it sounds good to me. Fine,
yeah, if you're at a 2.5 step, you bend a fucking half step,
you
bro.
Bend it,
fix it in the mix, right?
Yeah, you do some whammy tricks, and Wade'll do some post shit. He'll get it right. It's not my problem. Okay, he knows what the designer's intent was. Okay, so something we use in my field a lot: design intent.
Yeah.
So you know what that is. So anyway, I have those guitars in there, and I have one that I labeled Thunder guitar.
Oh, you got a guitar called Thunder?
I played it like Thunder.
DJ Thunder.
It was heavy reverb, a lot of distortion, but like palm mute whole notes.
Any vibra slap?
Like, no, but I put some delay on them, and they're back there. And there's another guitar that's playing up higher. Excuse me, on the neck.
Thunder. Sorry. Now I can't think of anything but anytime you play this guitar on any track, somebody yelling thunder when the guitar comes in.
Thunder lips.
I'm sorry.
But anyway, so that's what I have. You've probably noticed when you do my mixes, I use adjectives usually for the sound, not necessarily what the guitar is, like thunder guitar or
I have noticed that.
Guitar,
I know actually a recent mix I did of yours, I think something was labeled thunder. I was like, what is he talking about?
It might have been, yeah. So I use that one now, and it's usually like the high, like a lot of reverb, palm mute, just like kind of cackly is what I'm going for on it, background sort of. So I probably have that down in the mix. To your point, Patrick, I think if some of those come up and they get blended a little bit better, that might solve what you were asking.
Yeah, cool.
I like the notes because I don't think the song was done. I was bringing it to you to see if I made a couple of the right decisions because
that's good, Brad, because we've got a lot of notes.
Brad, you mentioned decisions before we listened. So what were those specifically that you were wondering about?
Mainly it was the break and then the tempo change. The song essentially stops and then starts again.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't always love songs that do that, but it feels like this is what this song wants to do.
But what a difference 2 listens make, because you go from that unexpected tempo change that I use the word I was struggling with, which I really was, to expecting it. And now I'm just like, yeah, fuck yeah, let's build this. And let's keep
That was
it
my
there.
note. F yeah.
Yeah, Wade's just ahead of the curve usually on shit like that. I absolutely, in my mind, after your notes on the chorus having something behind, or the last verse having something behind it, I absolutely hear that. The other quote unquote like decision I made was, do I write a new verse? This is more to the lyrics, but do I write a new verse for the end, or do I repeat the same verse? And I decided it wasn't lazy. It's 2 lines. I could have come up with 2 more lines.
Third verse, same as the first?
Right. So I decided to do that because I just wanted a reiteration of sort of the feeling of the narrators.
And like I said, I think you can reinforce that with some vocal phrases throughout that solo leading up to that end.
Have you thought about getting the children's choir from You Can't Always Get What You Want?
If I could, that's what I need like most of the time. If I could get a Can't Always Get What You Want keyboard and that children's choir was on there, done deal. That and Gospel Chicks would do.
Yeah.
And Vibra Slap.
That's all I need. Yeah.
Yeah, and Vibra Slap. If only there were an instrument that sounded like a rattlesnake.
Brad, do you feel like you have a good idea now of what you want to do moving forward on this song?
I think I have a springboard for another round of like experimentation on it.
Okay.
Yeah. I think I know what to try, and then that will probably lead to other things.
Cool.
Dude, we've totally gaslit them.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys, I'm going to do all this shit. You're going to come back and you're like, yeah, first version was pretty good.
Yeah, didn't happen.
What song?
Yeah. Did you have a sense at all? Did you feel anything lyrically? Or was it too simple lyrically for you to feel anything?
Honestly, I don't think the lyrics are, like I said, I don't think it's the critical component of the song.
Okay.
I didn't get the chills.
I don't mean that to be insulting. I just think the song is really about using your vocals as an instrument.
I guess, did you get any connection from the way they were sung and what they could potentially be about at all with how the song was built and how the song sounded.
I mean, this might be just me oversimplifying the lyrics, but I got two really good friends fighting, and they're disenfranchised with each other, but they miss that element in their lives and are hoping they can see eye to eye again. I mean, that's as far as I got with it.
That makes me feel like that's not Brad's intention.
No, it's not at all. But not even close. But wait, what did you get on it? I don't even have to say what I thought.
I mean, it's a bit ambiguous, I think.
It is.
I can relate to the feeling that something might be ending, but then you're like, wait, maybe not. Trying to hold on to something. Maybe.
No, not at all.
No?
Say it, Brad.
Yeah, let us know.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, you guys got butt kissed.
Sure.
Is this going to be one of those songs where every time you're interviewed in fucking Rolling Stone, you're like, well, I think it's really about what you think it's about?
It's up to the listener to decide what it is.
I know what it's about, but I don't know if people like hearing what songs are about or not. So
I think that's
don't have to say.
Reason why people listen to this podcast.
Is it? For me, this song, it's not two people. It's not anything. It's one person.
Is this about
reflecting?
Goonies?
No, they're sitting there and they're waiting and they're thinking about all of these different things. It's like a list. It's really about like kind of what we're going through now. We are sitting here waiting.
I get that from the "I'm waiting for them to be human beings" line. Like,
yeah,
I kind of thought that,
like,
but it is really ambiguous.
Yes, and I always do that on purpose. I was trying to build it in sort of a waiting format. You're always listening to something and waiting for what's next. And so that was like another to speak to the decisions. That's like one of the decisions I made was like trying to calculate the ride a little bit. And that's why I decided to go with the ultimate change.
I think you think about things like that way more than.
No, it's
I do. I think I do.
When you're writing songs, we've covered this before. Like you really do give a lot of thought to, I'm going to do this because of the way this feels, or I'm gonna write this, use this because of what I think it adds to the story in my head, type of thing. Right. Which is cool. I think it's really cool.
I do it to try to. I always hope that there's ambiguity in the lyrics, but rigid definition in the song, and the two of them together will tell you what the song is about. It'll just take you to that place automatically.
Yeah, and I think that's important. I mean, we don't all need a Gordon Lightfoot who's going to tell you fucking sonnet.
What date?
Yeah.
Edmund Fitzgerald's son.
Yeah.
Right. I feel like the beginning of it hits the mark more with your lyrics, and the end is just like a different type of song.
Kind of. Yeah. That's what I was worried about, but I was hoping.
I mean, you've got like that lead guitar in the part B, which is almost like an Indian war, like riding on horseback, like into battle type of thing.
Let me ask
you. That was honestly just me fucking around, and I was like, "That sounds cool."
Let me ask you your honest opinion, though, Brad. Like, how do you feel when you hear me totally miss the mark when I hear it?
That makes me try harder when I make those decisions. It makes me try harder to sort of lead the listener to where I.
But like I said before, Brad, I think your songs are more about the feeling than the blatant, like, this is what it's about.
Yeah.
Which I think you do really well. Like, you get the feeling of forlornness.
Right, yeah. So it doesn't have to specifically be about then, say, like, waiting for some executive order to be lifted or something specific to what we're doing now. But it's all of the situations that mirror what this is.
Right.
So I was trying to think of like a bunch of things that you wait for. You know, like wait, before you and I were friends, okay, I knew who you were. And I was like, that seems like a cool guy. I have no way to meet him. I'm not going to meet him for a while. Then we randomly met. You know, it was like I was waiting for you to be my friend because I knew we would be friends, but we weren't. You know, so it's like situations like that that continually pop up in your life. And that's just kind of where it all kind of went. Like that line was sort of about something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, see,
specifically.
It makes sense now that I look at it and now that you explain it like that.
I think I went to the darker end of that getting in my own head about my own anxieties about what people think of me, and did I say something that really ruined this friendship, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah, right.
Being the eternal people pleaser. So I think that's how I interpret it, is these two friends who are estranged, but they're missing that element. But it's funny because they both talk about anticipation in a lot of ways, but mine is more from an anxious approach.
Yeah. So would you say, though, like, take out anything I know or feel about what the song's about? Does the music match the feeling for you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't think this is a song that needs to bludgeon someone over the head with what it's about.
No.
I like that you can ascribe different things to it, and this is something you do in your songwriting. You take into consideration and give more weight to the feeling. Just like when you said you're going upstairs and you're like, well, I've got this feeling, now I need to capture it. That's what like songwriting music is to you on a very basic level, and it always comes through. Like, I don't think it's something you need to worry about a ton when we talk about the lyrics like this, unless that's what you're going for. Like, I was going for this specifically and wanted, like you already said, you knew it was kind of ambiguous. So
I do it on purpose.
Yeah, exactly.
Mainly just because it's just in case I end up writing something about me. I don't want you to think.
And we've talked about this many times. Like, the way I write lyrics is like totally different, because usually I'll beat you over the head with something.
Yeah. Yes.
But where you leave it a lot open to interpretation, which is there's no wrong or right way.
My goal is always I want the notes and the feeling and everything to resonate with you, and you to sort of automatically feel how I was feeling when I wrote the song.
I feel like the beginning of this song really does capture that. Like, you feel alone with your thoughts at the beginning of this song, and you feel that that sense of, like, questioning, wondering, hoping. I think that all comes through really great. And then
that's what I was asking.
Then the song changes, and I don't really know if that connects in that way. It's just a cool part of the song at that point.
That's because the second part's about gas station boner pills.
Right.
And that's Swisher right.
Sweets.
Right. I was waiting for it to take effect.
But does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does. And that's so
I guess you need to ask yourself, like, do you care if there's a connection between part A and part B? Or like, what is that connection? Or what was it in your head?
With me, what I was trying to do is, like I said, it's a song about waiting. I was trying to take you to what you were waiting for.
Okay, so you get there in part B. Like,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And so
I think it works then.
Do you think so? So I don't think it hit, but I think it might if I do what you guys talked about.
Well, I think if you lean into it more, it might give you more of a separate line, like a delineation of I was waiting, I was longing, and then bam, F yeah, I got it.
I'm all right now.
I kind of got F yeah, and then we kind of like slipped back a little. Yeah,
okay.
I lean into that second half.
That's where we'll go with it. And I just wanted to get your guys' feeling to see if you linked it to any of this stuff.
I think if you can pick some key words to say and sing over like that end part, like I was saying, like phrases to repeat in a big way, I think that's where you're going to get that tingle down the spine part. If you can pick the words that will connect the rest of the song and tie it together and really get that meaning across.
And I would really love to hear like some disjointed lyrics, or you singing something totally different while the chorus is going on in the background. I think, as Wade was saying, if nothing else, which we both love your music, you always evoke feeling. Your songs are very visual to me. I'm always transported to very visual imagery.
Oh yeah, this is like a Great Plain in this song. Like, there's that part where horseback, Great Plain, plateaus,
vibra slap.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, we don't have to beat that horse to death, but yeah, okay.
That's in the song too.
That was good.
No, I think it makes for good conversation to see where you're coming from on this stuff and how you go about pouring yourself into these songs, and it's all about the feeling for you, and it's
And this is also interesting for me because usually on first listen with most of your music, I connect with it right away. And this one was kind of fun to, even on 2 listens, kind of
dig a little deeper into it, right?
Dig a little bit deep. Yeah, dig deeper into it. And I like that.
I mean, there's a reason that we always end up spending like twice as much time on your songs because they are open to that conversation more.
Yeah, just because of vagueness of them.
Mm-hmm.
No, Jesus Christ! I think it's time we end this conversation.
I don't think that's wrong, right?
No.
Sometimes there is a vagueness to them.
That's what poetry is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, Brad, how do you feel about all this feedback? I mean, you look a little bummed out. What do you think about this whole conversation?
No, I had been listening, like I did this song last weekend and I had been listening to it this week.
Mm-hmm.
And I purposely didn't like go in there and try to do anything because I didn't want to take it somewhere else and then have you guys listen to it and have to go backwards. So I sort of left it blank on purpose. Like I said, I didn't think everything was there.
Mm-hmm.
I just really wanted a format check first.
Yeah.
Just to see like if there was a fuck yeah, or if there was a chills moment, or if there was something that absolutely resonated with. And then that's the part I'll probably take and run with.
Like, I feel like this is the kind of song that needs a chills moment. I think you have to find it in this song.
Yeah, because I was hoping for a couple more clues.
And I didn't get it.
I know.
No, I didn't get it, but I think it's in there. Like I'm confident you can find it and make it happen. And I think that's exactly what it needs.
I really like the idea about getting rid of, or at least maybe bringing way down the intro guitars, coming in with the vocal.
Mm-hmm.
One, it's a little long. It doesn't feel long, but the song's a little long. And two,
I had
the same Wonderwall feelings about it as Patrick did. Where like you're strumming it when you first listen to it, you're like, I don't know, it kind of sounds like something.
I think if those vocals come in on their own, it's going to be really effective.
Yeah.
And really tie the listener immediately to the feel you're going for.
Yeah, I think the issue there might be coming up with like a subtle backbone for those.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like you said, this is somebody in their head, so that's very intimate. So I think starting with just that vocal.
Yeah,
and you got those airy keyboards would really be what would support those.
I really like those keyboards in the beginning. I really do. And again, they're understated. I think this song's all about understatement
until it's not.
Until it's not.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it kind of wakes up, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what I was kind of thinking. So, okay. I got some marching orders. I like it.
I'm kind of excited to see what you do with this because just the fact that we've dug so deep into it, I will give you the caution of don't get in your own head about it. Just
for sure.
Do what feels right. It's just kind of interesting to me at this point in the podcast to hear a song that you're struggling with a little bit, but it's a great song. I don't know what else to say. I'm excited to hear where this goes because I think it's something that's going to evolve once you go back to it. And I think it's going to be incredible when it's done, no matter what direction you take it in.
Mm-hmm.
There's some songs, like I mentioned, I have like a bunch of songs that I was writing on the writer's block, and I just don't know what to do with them. And it's because I don't feel anything from them.
Yeah.
So they'll sit there forever. And this one, I felt something right away, so it needed to be finished. And I'll continue to do that.
I think it's just a matter of getting that to translate to us now. Like it's there. Yeah. Clearly it's there because you feel it, and now you just got to get it to us.
But I feel like we're giving you sort of an impossible task because I really don't want you to write it for us, but I want us to feel what you're feeling. So it's kind of double speak, but I really don't want you to change the feeling of the song.
No, I think a little arranging and some tweaking is going to get it there, really.
Yeah, I don't think you're asking too much. I think you're asking for it to be complete. It's not complete. I'll go back to work on it and play with it a little more. I mean, not every song is going to be done in 2 days. I know that. Like this, I just gave it some air. It needed air. So,
I mean, if I would have done it, it would have been done, but that's...
Try it in the air banjo. You need more air banjo.
We'll find a banjo.
Plank.
So it needs, you make sure you strap on your guitars up high, maybe trade the banjo out for a violin or a fiddle,
Actually, one thing we didn't talk about, and let's get technical, how wide of a stance did you have during the solo? Did you have your foot up on an amp?
Let me think about that. I might have had my foot on the stool.
Okay.
Because sometimes when I'm doing
maybe put a book under the stool, get it up there a little higher.
Sometimes when I'm doing those solos, it's funny because it's the same. I say the same shit over and over again. I was gonna jot it down, Patrick. Right? The solo goes there. I'll just jot it down. I don't really give a fuck.
Then you did it, and then you unhooked your guitar, threw it to the ground. Was like, I'm done.
I played it and I was like, I kind of like that one. I'll leave it. I'll see if it rings bells. If it doesn't ring bells, I'll leave
The wife is like, why the fuck are you in the shed? Oh, I'm getting a box fan to have my hair blow back.
Right, yes. Doing an Insta video, okay?
You got your leg up there so high on the amp that you're accentuating the balls in your jeans.
Right. Do you guys do stretches before you play your guitar? Right?
Oh, fuck yeah.
Okay, all right. Just want to make sure because I do full cals.
Yeah, you don't want to blow out your shoulder when you're playing behind your head.
Right. I gotta get that. If that thing wants to go up, it's going up, and I'm not going down because of it.
Yeah, you do the swing around.
yeah, whatever it takes.
All right, well, let's jump in the time machine, and Brad's going to work on this.
Thanks for indulging me for that amount of time. That was a long one.
Yeah, I think you'll get it there. So,
has this scratch always been on the time machine?
Oh man,
he probably didn't put a blanket over the fender like I fucking told him to. He's got that fucking belt buckle on his sweatpants.
Him and Chuckster were probably.
He's been hanging out
in the garage.
Fucking Chuckster.
Right.
Oh, God damn it.
Chuckster and fucking Bruno, man.
There's a goddamn hamburger in a Ziploc bag in the back seat from God knows I don't know how long ago.
Yeah, did you see they put like some makeshift like wood stove out in the garage there to hang out there all year round now?
Yeah. I saw it, and I got fucking empty packages of Red Man from Bruno all over the place, chewing on tobacco sticks.
Cut in half gas can, the hose sticking out the side of the building so they can pee in it. It's a mess.
Ripped in half Bud Light can as a makeshift ashtray.
Right.
Okay, to the future.
All right.
Oh, I hope it's better.
Set course. To the future! Welcome back, BSers. We are far into the future.
Oh, God.
And we are talking about What Am I Waiting For? I looked at the original recording date for the first time we listened to the song, and it was in early May.
I was going to say, it was right after it was the first COVID shutdown session.
Yeah, so
I remember that.
Right now we're heading into the end of July, so we're far into the future on this song. Brad.
So, yeah, I mean, this one...
Why did it take you so long to finish
this one just
song?
came together quickly, didn't it? No big deal.
And we are recording from Brad's house today.
Yeah.
New setup.
We saw Daryl's house and thought, Brad could do that.
Daryl Hall.
Yeah.
Live from Daryl's house.
BSers, you might hear some machinery in the background. Brad's wife is mowing the lawn.
We're on a farm.
Yeah. So, sadly for you listeners, it is no longer National Hot Dog Month.
No.
But... while we're recording this, it still is. So we are still celebrating, and we just tore down a bunch of dogs in preparation to record this podcast. And once the sun goes down, we're also going to be out on the pitch playing some arrow catch.
That is first arrow catch day.
That was the main objective that determined the recording at my house.
The impetus to get us here.
I own the pitch.
Yeah.
Right. So we have the pitch, the original pitch.
Yeah, the Gehringer
and you guys are gonna love
pitch.
It's been modified. We could do side by side 2 deep pitches in the backyard now.
So the pitch is getting mowed. Hopefully we won't have to deal with any yard babies. Hopefully we can stay out of the beans and hopefully have us a really nice quibble.
It's a wheat border this year.
Oh, okay.
So it's nice. It's
new for 2020.
Wheat, but it's good.
You get your officially sanctioned arrow catch wheat from our website.
Absolutely.
And that's the only official arrow catch wheat that you can plant.
The only wheat.
On your pitch.
The only wheat.
I'm not saying it's the best wheat. People are saying
that.
I'm saying that arrow catchers are on the cover of Wheaties right now.
So anyway, we should talk about this song. Last we left this, we had left Brad with feedback on how Patrick and I thought the song could be improved. Brad, you played with it for a while, but we were still a little bit stuck.
The reason we had this long gap, it was more than just me not having necessarily time to work on it, but it was really like every time I did.
Sounds like an excuse to me.
No, every time I did try to come up here and I'm like, I'm gonna work on that. And I went up here and I'm like, nothing. And I would try to do stuff. I physically did stuff, and it would per the advice, and I would follow along on kind of, I was like, because I had said previously I was gonna let whatever you guys said kind of dictate what I did.
Yeah,
on the song.
Sent you the recording we did of this episode so you could listen back to it.
And I went with the advice. There's a Paul Harvey rest of the story here coming up that you guys can tell, but I just couldn't come up with anything, right? So at the end of the day, I told you guys, hey, you guys were actually together at Wade's house one day, and I said, why don't you guys just do something to it? Yeah. And it might springboard a thought, an idea.
Yeah,
and
basically you said you'd go nuts on it, do whatever. So the next day, I did some recording and arranging on the song, and then I sent it back to you.
Yep.
And then you took it from there.
Yeah.
Basically threw out everything I did.
I did.
Didn't like anything I had to say either.
No.
I took those notes, and all I did was...
And you shit on
No,
me.
I did. I hit them with the subtlety stick. Is all I did. Because you guys...
Stay down!
Yeah, you guys took your ideas to the extreme. Like, you wanted to have that solo moved up into the verse, the kind of to bring it kind of biggie for that part. I liked the solo stand alone, and separate, and I wanted to do something else in those verses.
I think the main argument was that the song was losing steam during that because you were losing that lead element that you had when the song really changed and got more aggressive and big. And I just finished mixing this song today. I was working on it the past few days, and I can say that I really like where it ended up. So you took the feedback and the ideas that we gave you, and what you came up with, I think, really helps keep the energy up on the song during that part, which was my main complaint about.
Yeah,
about
and one of the big things,
one of the big
things, the early excuses, and it's still, you can tell just by the way I'm talking, like my voice is still allergic to the world. I couldn't necessarily get where I wanted with vocals, and so I gave up on it, and it helped with what you guys did, to where I was like, okay, I'm going to do what I would have done with vocals with my guitar. Yeah. And I'll do it with a different style guitar. I'll do it with a slide guitar. And I think that worked at the end of the day. I don't know. I haven't listened to your mix. You said you didn't do anything drastic to it, so we didn't go through that process. But
lately, I've been sending the mix to you so you can get your talking points. We can go back and forth and get it exactly where you want it. We didn't have time to do that this time because I just finished this today. So we're going to listen to this now. Brad is going to be here in the mix for the first time. Then we'll talk about it and see if we need to make any changes. But like, I didn't do a lot. I did some minor arranging, just pulling a few elements out where I think they were stepping on the rest of the song. But this is another case where you had very specific effects that you made for the song, like delays and distortion on things. And I left all that alone because, clearly that was something you were going for. It sounded cool. It had its own kind of aesthetic.
I actually learned something from you. Shit, I don't remember what episode it was where you talked about where you put distortion on backing vocals.
Oh yeah.
Right, and that was something you probably saw some of that, and it's on.
I noticed you did that,
and it's on the main backing vocal, and I was like, oh, those aren't coming through like I want them to, and then I put that distortion. I was like, boom, that's it. So. Cool. That's a cool tool, like a trick. I wouldn't have ever put distortion on vocals of any kind. I almost thought it was taboo, like for the professionals.
But you don't notice that really in the mix. It just helps it to punch through. Like bass guitar, I always put distortion on the bass guitar, just to help it cut through the mix. You once the rest of the elements are in there, you really don't notice it.
And that really shows my naivete because we used to play with bands all the time that. They would show up and they would have like distorted pedals, and I'm like, "What are you doing, guy? With all this distortion?"
Yeah.
Like, well, it cuts through the noise. you know, 20 years later, I'm like, oh, that's why they had it on their bass rig, because you can hear it.
Yeah.
So,
plus it's cool when you have a megaphone.
right.
Yeah.
So I'm anxious to hear this mix, because I ended up really liking this song. Like, I've listened to it a few times since.
This is
like
another one that grew on me as
Yep.
the more I worked on it. And I think it really did need the changes that you made to it. And now I think it really is where it needs to be. So
Let's give it a listen,
give it a
because I'm
listen,
curious about it.
let's see. We're also on a whole new setup here. I actually dug out the very first audio interface I ever bought to bring over here to Brad's house so I didn't have to take my studio apart. And it worked. So we were afraid to use Brad's setup.
Nothing can be trusted in here. A lot of Apple pinwheels.
Okay, so Brad, are you ready there?
I'm ready to roll.
All right, and Patrick, you're going to hear it with me
going?
here. Yep.
I'm waiting for you to be my friend. I'm waiting for you to say you're sorry again. I don't know why anything, yeah. But I do know that it's not over yet. Waiting for us to see the same things. I'm waiting for them to be human beings. I don't know why anything else. I do know that it's not over yet.
Patrick, why don't you start us off? Because Brad usually likes to take a few minutes to let some things sink in after hearing a new mix.
Yeah, I like this a lot. There's two things that when Wade and I were originally playing along with the arrangement of this that really didn't sit well with me. One was the intro, and I wanted that bended guitar to keep in the beginning of the song, and that makes a lot of sense there for me. It thickens it up.
That was a really good thing that you guys did.
We had talked about cutting it from the intro and just having it start with the vocals, which Patrick and I both liked, but I left it in there because Brad is an intro guy and he likes to set the mood, and as an artist and the way he does things, I thought I should leave it in.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, we play around with it, but that definitely is a signature of yours. So the other thing I struggled with in this song, especially after later listens to it, was when the tempo picks up, it seemed really abrupt to me. I think originally I told you I wanted the acoustic guitar to sort of crescendo there, lead into the faster rhythm, and it didn't work. I think you played around with that.
You guys threw something in there where I don't know if it was a cut and paste from like a fast picking thing.
And it was better, but it wasn't perfect. And so now there's that little guitar single note
carry.
Carry.
It's
That
like
works
that little
really well.
fluffy guitar that's like ding, ding,
Yep.
ding,
Yeah.
ding.
Yeah, I really like that. I think that's great. The only thing, and it's tough to tell because we're in a new audio setup right now, but in the outro, in the fade, I'm only getting the high register and the pan job of the acoustic. The left ear, I only get like the E string coming through. It could be my hearing too. But that threw me off a little bit. It's probably just how we're
Could
listening
be
right
this
now.
weird setup we got going on.
Yeah, so
I didn't catch it here.
I'll have to give it
so-
a car listen.
Yeah.
Or maybe we'll give a listen on Brad's system here.
On here. I didn't have like...
But that's a really minor thing, and I'm sure it's more environmental than anything. The arrangement works a ton better now.
It doesn't lose energy now.
I like it a lot. It's amazing how like through that process, as you took it to an extreme, I backed it down, and just that one, like I have a version on here. I saved it under something else that is just
Home
like
Squares?
No, Home Squares 18. It's just like a lead, like you guys wanted more, and I just never liked it. I didn't even like it enough to send it over. It gets too like electric.
Yeah.
You know, like I like where it was, but I kind of wanted it to be a little Americana also through that end.
The drums really kind of give you that feel. That
And I reworked those on the second.
And they're toned down in the mix a lot too. The bass and the toms were booming in the original mix.
That was a clean up.
So I like that. I will say one thing I found really fun about this is I really haven't sat with Wade, quote unquote, in the booth before.
Yeah.
And it's been more, I'm sharing ideas either on this show, whereas I stopped by his house one night unannounced. And
all wet.
Had to sit on a towel.
Sexy time.
No, he was in a dirty lake.
Oh, there it is.
And I got permission to enter your home.
Yeah.
But it just so happened you guys were in the middle of the conversation, so I'm like, sit down and work on this.
Really nice.
And it was a ton of fun.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah.
That's a good time.
So that was another part of this song that I really enjoyed because I felt like I got to sort of help craft the arrangement too, even if it didn't work out.
We've talked about it before, like, you guys took it to the extreme, but all that did, like I was saying in that text thread, because I was actually sitting here recording stuff, and while you guys were doing that was at night, and I was like, oh, all right, hang on, and I would record something and just play it back through like whatever, like a voice memo.
Yeah, and the phones.
And just like, okay, what do you think about this? And then you guys would change things, send it back to me. That was really fun to do that with the three of us kind of building that.
Yeah.
And
this song really benefited from collaboration for sure.
Yeah. The only things that I took a couple notes on it. First note is I really like the sound of the vocals on it. There was a couple of inflections that I know that I did when I recorded it that didn't come through on the way I gave it to you.
Okay.
And I really like that they come back.
Oh, okay. So that's
some
a good
of it was
thing.
like kind of voice stressy things that were weird quirks that I ended up liking a lot, and I never heard them kind of as much in the other one. They came through better. The gap in between where it goes from say song 1 or part 1 into part 2, I wrote 2 notes and they start with the word maybe. Cause
I was going to ask you, do you think it drops out too much?
That's why my note is maybe too much fall in the gap before the song change.
I kind of thought that on this listen, and like I said, I did this today, haven't heard it since, and on this listen through, I thought maybe a couple elements dropped out just one measure too soon.
I think I want a little more of like the slide guitar ringing.
You have a synth that goes really nice through there, and I pulled it out last minute.
Yeah,
I'll work on that. And
but before we finalize this, I definitely want to listen to it.
For sure,
That's
a very important part.
Yeah, through a couple different methodologies.
Yeah. That's a very important part of the song because it's it's got the hi-hat, like, okay, we're going somewhere else, but it's kind of got to ring out, and it just kind of drops out.
One thing I just straight up didn't like it the first listen. I don't know if I commented on it, but I didn't like the rim shots in the middle, and now it makes sense to me.
I was trying to...
It seems like it belongs there.
That was a direct cue from Wade, who was like, I don't like the snare being in there, and then it just gets like, it turns into a hotter snare hit. So I was like, yeah, that makes sense, but what can I do? And I tried it with a tom, just like a floor tom, like a bum, 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 and that didn't work. I was like, well, the rim shot, because it's kind of like a rhythm.
Yeah, it kind of builds it a little bit.
I'm not a rim shot guy, usually, but for this song, it fit, I think.
Yeah. No, I think this song makes a lot of sense. This is a really interesting song now, because it really is 3 distinct acts.
That's kind of what I wanted. It was supposed to be. It goes back to what we talk about with my sounding like the story, right? A little bit, and that's kind of how I wanted it. But the only other note I had is that slide guitar keeps going through the solo, kind of as like a big background noise. And I think when I gave it to you, I don't remember which one I gave to you. For a minute, I had them turned down.
Oh, they were not turned down.
They were loud. Yeah. So I think because there was an earlier version where I actually went through and volume edited them.
I turned them down pretty far.
I volume edited them and I brought them down. And I know they're hot, like they come in hot, but I think I like some of the I guess juxtaposition between like the guitar solo where it hits sometimes with some of those high slide notes. I might want to hear it with just
up a
little bit.
Your slide when the solo starts.
It's gone.
I did get rid of it because I thought it was too much going on.
And I think it really could benefit if it was like strings or something. But I was trying to do 2 things. I was trying to tie the 2 together and like make it so that kept going, and it turned into more just like this, like I said, like sort of orchestral sound. So I don't maybe play around with the sound and bring it down, or I would just like to hear it in just a little bit.
We want to bring those back
just a little bit. Not
in BSers, we're at risk of running out of episodes, so we have to get this episode out.
That's it.
We're going to do the changes.
Yeah. I don't think we need to revisit it. There's nothing in here that's revisitable.
That's pretty minor stuff.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
We'll go through there. We'll text message, get it to where it needs to go, and then just play it at the end of this episode. Done.
Cool. This song also has the quality of feeling like it's over almost a little too soon because of that fade. We talk about that a lot, I think, during Anchor and Wheel.
Yeah.
And it's not a bad thing. It leaves you like, oh, it's over.
It's still another 4-minute song.
Yeah, it's still pretty long.
And did you bump the fade up?
I might have.
I think we did bump the fade.
Because I remember...
Because what were we waiting for? It to end.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. But I remember because I put there's a cue in there for the fade, and it's when I come back around to the guitar part that matches It's Not Over Yet.
Okay.
And it goes down, 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 and then it fades. And that's just in my head. The way you have it isn't bad. It's still in there, but that's just like, oh, it should have hit that and then faded. But I'm not attached to that either way. If you guys like it the way it is now, I'm okay with that. That was kind of my punctuation mark, and it's only because it fights with my like my measure counting where I want it to square off somewhere and then fade, and that could just be like a OCD tick.
What do you think about that, Patrick? I know the guitar part you're talking about.
Yeah,
you still hear it, and I like you kind of taking you out.
Yeah, and that was like
this is one of those songs I just was like, well, it kind of deserves like a longer fade out.
And I'm not mad at it. I was actually curious if there was something that made you drag that over a little bit. If it was just like I want it to slowly fade.
I just will listen and be like, though this is where
it was going on.
I feel it. Yeah.
then I'm okay with that.
Because I think that solo starts and then that whole thing goes on pretty long.
a while at the end. Yeah. So I'm comfortable with that fade. It's just that's the only other note I had was like doesn't get to the punctuation mark. But I love the mix actually.
Yeah. I'm happy with where it is.
Yeah, the sound is good. Like I said, the vocals.
I say maybe we split the difference on that fade when I go in and tweak some stuff.
Maybe split the difference on the fade and then just let's you and I just give it a little listen with the solo slide stuff. Mm-hmm. And then the gap.
What?
We'll smooth out that gap.
The gap fill.
All right, I'll listen to the gap fill.
Yeah, you're the gap fill guy.
Okay.
That's your part. We're divide and conquer, guys. We got shit to get done.
All right, well, we should probably get out of here. This will conclude our first ever recording in Brad's home studio room.
Oh, boom.
The sun's starting to go down, which means it's almost dark enough for us to get out on the pitch because you have to play arrow catch in the dark.
Always. They're glow in the dark arrows.
Yeah, we'll get shut down if it's too light.
Historically,
if it starts lightning or something, we have to shut it down because it gets too light.
That's right. It's too light. Whoa!
Yeah,
Cars going by.
No, we can see too much.
It's just like Wayne's World when a car goes by with the lights on. It's like, car!
Yeah.
Game on!
Too much light.
Right.
Yep. So
if you play in the light, you don't get to recreate the best feeling of arrow catch, which is the pure terror when you lose sight of the arrow.
There is a moment in the crest of the arrow. These are like high-vis, bright orange or red arrows that are, you could see them coming directly off of the bow.
But sometimes
through
you
a
can't.
crest, and they arc. And they come down, and there is a 15-foot window where they go dark, and you cannot see them. And then you see them again,
right,
and they're directly in front of your
face.
fucking face.
Shout out to Zing Air, who's the official producer of the Arrow Catch Bow and Arrow.
Shout out to the Devil Dogs and the Storm Dogs, and the Teldons.
Absolutely.
All good clubs.
All right,
Let's
enough
wrap
of
her
that.
up.
We need to get out there and start playing. So, BSers, if you have enjoyed what you hear here, then please leave us a review. If you listen on Apple Podcasts or iTunes, you can leave us a review directly in the app. If you listen on Overcast, there's a little star on each episode. Go click that star for us. That'll help recommend us to other people. We'd greatly appreciate that. And we do thank our new listeners. We've seen our numbers spike here recently, and we are very grateful for that because we're having a blast doing this. Patrick, you look like you want to say something.
If you listen on YouTube, Kyle.
We do put our episodes on YouTube.
Leave a comment, for God's sake.
And we have one listener there, Patrick's cousin Kyle, and I make the YouTube videos for him every week. So, listeners, if you would like to listen somewhere that would allow me to make you a special
Wade was actually
version of the show,
literally just complaining about lack of shit to do.
you can send me a message and I will
Right.
do that for you.
Kyle.
Because we love all our listeners and we thank you so much. Please reach out to us, BS at Belonging Songs. Send us a message. Send us song topics. If you want us to write songs about something, get a hold of us. Go to
We've
our
been
website.
reached out to.
What's that?
We were reached out to.
We'll get to that. More coming on that soon. Check out our website. You can listen to the before and after versions of all our songs there. BelongingSongs.com. Also, search Belonging Songs on Instagram. Give us a follow. We seem to just lose followers, so be nice to gain some back. We post pictures of hot dogs there all the time.
Right. And pretty sure the only people that look at our stories are prostitutes.
Yeah, well,
Those are nice ladies.
yeah, they need to look at Instagram too.
Right.
This episode is produced by Satellite Chicken Sound Lab. If you or anyone you know needs help producing a podcast, go to satellitechicken.com. And as always, thank you so much for listening. We'll see you here again next week.
Bow.
I'm waiting for you to be my friend. I'm waiting for you to say you're sorry again. I don't know why anything is, but I do know that it's not over yet. Waiting for us to see the same things. I'm waiting for them to be human beings. I don't know what anything is, but I do know that it's not over yet. Waiting for you to be my friend. I'm waiting for you to say you're sorry. Don't know how anything ends, but I know that it's not over yet. That it's not over yet, but I know that it's not over yet, but I know that it's not over yet.
The first version of arrow catch was throwing glow sticks.
Yeah,
Right?
that's
it
how
was just-
cavemen played it.
Yeah.
just throwing them, and then like hippies were catching them in their mouths.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
basically
it's,
it.
it's come a long way. So
Yeah, it's good. Boom, done. Next.